here is meditation. All right, so I want to actually make this really simple because meditation is a simple thing. But first, let's talk about, before we get into the specifics of how to do meditation, we're going to talk about what this is as a concept for personal development and then why it's important. So as a concept for personal development, why is meditation important and what is it? What is it? It simply means that you make a practice daily, I'm underlining and stressing the word daily, of sitting down in a chair or wherever you want to sit down for 20 minutes, closing your eyes, or maybe even opening your eyes, leaving them open, and just clearing your mind of everything and sitting in silence for 20 minutes. That's it. That's all it is. But beyond what meditation is the really important aspect is that this is a habit. This is not a thing that you do once, and we're going to get into that a little bit more in the body. Now, as for why it's important, I think meditation is really, really important for human beings, for every human being, because what it does is it helps us cope with all the stressors in our lives. And there's multiple benefits to doing meditation, and all of them have been very well documented scientifically, also anecdotally, and throughout millennia of practice by humans from the ancient East and now to the West. Doesn't really matter. Here's what meditation will do for you. Number one, it's going to eliminate a lot of stress. It's going to make you much more calm and peaceful. And when you are calm and peaceful, that's a position that you can make much better decisions from. That's a position that you can act powerfully from. That's a position that you can create an amazing life from. You can't do that when you're always stressed and bogged down with the pettiness of life. So there's that. It also eliminates those ants, those automatic negative thoughts that we always have, right? Whenever you're having one of those negative thought spirals where you just say like, oh, well, he did that to me and she did this to me and I'm going to tell him this and she's going to say that, and you have this whole concocted argument in your head going on, and you worry about your business collapsing or your career not working out or dropping off your weight loss plan or just any number of things that you can be worried about. That is ruining the quality of your life. But even beyond that, it's also ruining the performance of your life. You're going to be living a very mediocre life if you're always bogged down in automatic negative thoughts. And meditation is a really good way to unhook yourself from that. It also unhooks you from stimulation, because we're always so overstimulated by the environment. We're stimulated by food, we're stimulated by TV, we're stimulated by hanging out with people, we're overstimulated at work and by our computers, and we never just take the time to just kind of calm down and be happy in the moment. When you do a lot of meditation, you end up being happy just for being alive and for existing. That's basically what it is. It's getting you back in touch with how you felt as a kid, because as a kid you didn't have all these things that you needed. All you really needed was you needed some food, you needed some water, you needed some safety and some shelter, but basically you didn't care about any of that because it was all provided for you, and so you were just kind of happy being in reality and just existing and exploring what is here right now and being totally in the present moment, not worrying about stuff. And as an adult, you get away from that and you get hooked on various sources of stimulation, needing this hit of alcohol here, needing to watch some TV, needing some food, needing this. So getting hooked on that is a problem. Meditation also it makes you happy. This is something you should want to be doing because it's a really good way to make yourself feel good in your body, is to just sit there and be calm and be relaxed and connect with reality, connect with existence, rather than always be connected to like the social matrix that we are growing up in. By social matrix, I mean society, all the demands of work and politics and career and family life. Like those are all like social obligations and social responsibilities. But then sometimes you just want to unhook yourself from all that and realize that everything's okay in the moment. Meditation is also good for improving your work performance, especially if you're a very creative person, if you're a high achiever type, if you're an executive type, and your thought process is important to the work you're putting out. then you want to make sure that your thought process is clean, it's streamlined, it's not overly negative, and it can be focused. That's another thing that meditation helps you with, is it helps you with building up the prefrontal cortex, building up your willpower muscles, so that you can actually use your brain for being a really effective tool. People that meditate a lot will have more willpower, more discipline. It's going to be easier for you to stay on your diet. It's going to be easier for you to stay and work extra hours at work if that's what is called for. It's going to be easier for you to generate creative ideas. So that's really good. If you only do meditation just to get performance, then that's still a really good reason to do it, just for the performance that your brain gets. And studies have also shown that just the health of your brain is going to get better. Meditation on a consistent basis will help prevent things like Alzheimer's disease, and will just keep your brain really healthy and active because you're using it, you're stressing it when you're doing meditation. It's like flexing a muscle. And then lastly, this is kind of a more obscure and spiritual point, but you can actually use meditation to reach a point of enlightenment, which I talk about in other videos. I'm not going to cover here. It's a really deep topic. But if that's something that you're interested in, then definitely check out some of my other videos where I'm going to cover what enlightenment is and how you can reach it through the use of meditation. But if you do meditation for a very, very long time and you're very, very disciplined at it, you eventually can reach the point where you become so connected with reality that you feel like you are one with reality. And all the pettiness in your life, all the emotional hang-ups you have, all the psychological instability, everything you worry about, all that just melts completely away. And I've not reached that state, so don't hold me to that, but that's what the gurus say when they get there. So that can be a point that you can reach through meditation. So that can be like your long distance vision of maybe why you're doing it. All right, so let's get into the body of what meditation is, some of the subtleties of it, and actually how to do it. All right. So the reason we do it is to control negative thoughts, and there is this Buddhist idea, the way that they label our mind is they have this analogy for the fact that your mind is like a drunk monkey. Not just a drunk monkey having that monkey chatter, but it's like a drunk monkey who's been stung by a scorpion. So just imagine that. Imagine that image. And isn't that true? Isn't that how our days are sometimes? Maybe for most of us, too much of our days are like that. Wouldn't it be nice to back away from that and to calm that monkey down so that it's not always running around stung and drunk and doing crazy things? Kind of rein that thing in. That's really why meditation is really useful. Okay, as far as how to meditate, there's a lot of stuff out there, especially now because meditation is getting so popular in the West. You've got so many books, classes, courses, manuals, videos. Look, meditation at the bottom line is extremely, extremely simple, and there's way too much bullshit around it. So I'm going to make it really simple as to how to meditate. Here's how you meditate, all right? And if you follow this advice, you're going to be doing it as efficiently as you can be doing it. So you're not going to need to innovate on this. It's really simple. Here's what you do. You get a chair, simple chair with a back on it. You put it down. You sit on it. Every morning, you get a timer. You put that timer on your cell phone for, if you have a smartphone, for example, you put that timer for 20 minutes. You sit down, put your arms on your legs, back up straight, close your eyes, and just breathe deeply, normally, slowly, at a consistent, even pace, and sit there for 20 minutes straight and try to empty your mind of any specific thoughts. That's it. That's meditation. And when some kind of thought does creep in there that gets a hold of you, like for example, you're sitting there and everything is peaceful and calm, right? Everything's nice. And then all of a sudden it's like, uh-oh, I need to answer that email. Uh-oh, what happens if I stay in at work an extra hour, then I won't be able to pick up the kids. When you start having those questions in your mind, you just realize that you're off track and you just let it go. You let them go, kind of like water passing under a bridge, and you try to clean your mind. And you sit there and you wait and you try to last it out and see how long you can sit through another period of meditation without getting hit by another thought. And when you start, initially, this is going to be extremely, extremely challenging. Because right now, if you've never tried it, then you're probably thinking like, that's not, I mean, I know what you're talking about. I can do that. It's just going to be boring. But when you actually do it, you're going to find out how challenging it is. It's very simple, but it's very challenging to actually do it, because you're going to have thoughts creeping into your mind. Every thought is going to come in, and you're going to realize, you're going to be very, very keenly aware of just how many negative thoughts you're having and how automatic they are and how little control over them you do really have, at least right now. And what's going to happen is that as you do this consistently every day for weeks and months and years, you're going to recognize that you have more control, and you're going to build up your willpower muscles to the point where your meditation sessions are going to get longer and longer and longer, and you're going to be able to go without having these thoughts get a hold of you and grab a hold of you and have some emotional effect on you. And that is the discipline that you're building. That's the discipline of meditation. So very simple. See, there's no bullshit. You don't need to take some class. You don't need to read some book. You don't need to go buy a pillow. You don't need a special mat. You don't need special shoes or clothes. You don't need some special position. You don't need to cross your legs in the full lotus position. You don't need to do any of those things. You can, but you don't need to do any of those things. And in fact, what I'm going to say is that all those are distractions. Those are rituals that people have built around in order to sell you stuff, or because there's dogma involved and ancient traditions of ritual that you don't need to get the core effect of meditation. Meditation is just sitting quietly and not thinking about anything. It's just quieting your mind. That's all it is. And there's slight variations on it, but that's basically what it is. You can focus on your breath if you want to. You can focus on one particular mantra that you have, maybe an affirmation that you have, something like, I am peace, I am peace, I am peace, and just keep repeating it and focusing on it. But none of those things are necessary. And in fact, I think the best way is to do it very simply and take all the extraneous, superfluous stuff out. Because here's the problem, is that even though I've given you the process, it's a very dead simple process, you're still going to want to be tempted to innovate on this process and somehow complicate it, which is the exact opposite of what the point of meditation is. It's supposed to unhook you from all that bullshit. When you try to go and you take all these classes and read all these books and buy all this equipment, that's the exact opposite of what meditation is intended to do. Meditation is intended to make you calm in the moment, just being who you are as you are right now. Your current experience, not needing to add anything to it. So you don't need any of that stuff. Plus, it'll save you some money, it'll save you some time. And the biggest thing that'll save you is excuses for procrastination. Because here's what's going to happen, is that this thing is so simple that your mind can't accept that it's that simple. So what it does is, in its infinite wisdom and its infinite trickiness, is what it does is it convinces you that it can't be this simple. There must be something more. Maybe I need this, maybe I need that. I need to take a class to make sure that I do it right. And you start coming up with excuses for not to do it, any sort of reason for not to do it, to the point where you're going to be sitting there on your chair doing your meditation, and you're going to be doing it, and then halfway through you're going to have a thought like, this one thought keeps coming up. I must be not meditating. Like for some reason I'm just doing it wrong. And so you get all butthurt about the fact that you can't meditate, and you're going to start judging yourself for that. And maybe you get through 20 minutes and you barely make it through. You're almost about to quit, but let's say you finally make it through to the 20-minute mark and your alarm rings, and you're like, oh, damn, I made it through. But something must be wrong. This is like the 5th time in a row that I barely made it through. I must suck at meditation. I must need to go take a class or read a book or something, or maybe I should just quit because I'm not getting any peace or calm from this. I'm getting even more agitated. That's totally normal. Anything that happens in meditation is totally normal. The key thing is that you just try to center your mind and clear it of thoughts. That does not mean that to do a successful meditation, your mind needs to be always clear of thoughts. It's a very, very common misconception, I think, where people get totally misled. For me, this was a big realization, is that literally anything that happens within the meditation session, as long as you last out for 20 minutes and you at least try to keep your mind clear, that's it. Some days, that's going to be much easier than other days. If you just had a breakup the night before with your girlfriend or boyfriend, good luck having a clean, smooth meditation session the next morning. You're going to be frantic and all over the place because that monkey chatter is going to be coming around and it's going to be running circles in your mind, and you're basically going to be totally out of control. But you know what? You still do it. And that 20 minutes that you put in is still 20 minutes of meditation, even if it was little windows of 2 seconds here and 2 seconds there where your mind was clear, and the rest of it was filled with a bunch of garbage and nonsense. So it is. That's fine. That's the process. And when you start, it is going to be challenging. That's what I mean by this thing being really difficult, because you're not going to be able to do a smooth, even minute of meditation. All of it is meditation, but you're not going to be able to do a smooth minute of no thinking, is a more accurate way to put it. And that's going to frustrate you, because you're going to assume that you've got it all handled and that your mind is clear and you've got good willpower and you're totally in control, but you're going to become very quickly shocked and awed into how little control you really have. Because what's going to happen is maybe you're going to last for like 15 seconds before some negative thought creeps up, or your imagination kicks in and you start fantasizing about something. And what you got to do is you just got to say, okay, I recognize now that I'm thinking about something that's off track, and I'm just going to let it go, like water under a bridge, and clear my mind. And you just keep clearing your mind. And you don't judge yourself for the fact that you weren't able to clear your mind sooner. Because sometimes what will happen is that train of thought will carry you so far. Like, let's say you're sitting and meditating and you've done the first minute and it's all clean and good. And then something snaps into your brain, some thought, and it just carries you. And it carries you along maybe for 2 whole minutes. And it sneaks up so subtly on you that you don't even realize that it's been carrying you along for 2 minutes. And then by the time you realize, you're like, oh damn, that must have been a long time that I've been thinking about this stupid situation. And then the next thought you're going to have is, oh damn, I messed up 2 minutes worth of meditation. The fact is that that's just the process of it. You're learning to build your willpower muscles, and don't judge yourself. All you do in that case is you clear your mind. When you realize that you've wasted 2 minutes thinking about some thought, you clear it and you begin anew. You're still going for 20 minutes, so it doesn't matter. Those 2 minutes still count towards your 20 minutes. But you clear your mind and you forget about it. You let it go. You don't get hooked on it. And if you do get hooked on it, which of course you will at the beginning, you'll start to doubt yourself and you'll start to judge yourself and criticize yourself. Recognize that you're doing that and let that go. And just keep going through that process. Sometimes it's a really kind of stop and go, grindy kind of process. It's not smooth. When you do it for a long time, it becomes silky smooth and polished. That's kind of the state that you want to get to. And when you do that, when you get out of meditation, you'll find that your life becomes silky smooth too. Not always, but it's going to be more smooth than it was if you didn't do it. Okay, so that's how to meditate and some of the common concerns that people have about it. Let's talk about actually turning this into a practice, because if you're not going to do this daily, I'm telling you right now, don't even start. Don't start meditation unless you're committing to do it for at least 20 minutes every day. Doesn't matter when in the day. Morning is better because you have less, your energies are still within you. You still have a lot of energy. You're not falling asleep because you just woke up, and it tends to be quieter in the morning. Less obligations, more obligations at night. Less distractions in the morning. So morning is best 20 minutes every single day. Weekends and weekdays, every single day. And you don't do this for a month, you do this for the rest of your life. This is what a meditation practice is. This is one of those things that's subtle. You have to appreciate the subtlety of what meditation is. It is not this huge supercharging effect on your life, at least not initially. It can be that way after months and years, but it's not going to be that way in the first month, and it's not even going to be that way in the first 5 months. I'm just telling you the way it really is. I'm not being pessimistic or having some limiting beliefs. This is how it is. Buddhist monks will meditate for 6 hours every day for decades before they get the full effects of meditation. So you got to figure that if you're only doing it for 20 minutes, you got to at least do it once a day to get some sort of effect. And that's what is so important, is that you do it daily. You have to do it daily. I'm stressing this because people just don't do it. They don't do it daily. I'm guilty of it myself. So you gotta do it daily. And to do that, here's the secret, is you have to convince yourself of the importance of meditation. Because I rattled off a list of all the benefits that you can get: better brain health and better performance at work, less stress, more happiness, potentially enlightenment. I've told you these things, but right now your mind isn't bought into it yet. You're not bought into it. You don't see how it could practically improve your day-to-day. You don't see that. And that's what you got to change, is you got to change your relationship to why meditation is important. Because really, if you don't see that, it's not going to be a high enough priority for you to do it consistently throughout your day. And you're going to get distracted by everything else. And you're just going to say, it's not important, I won't do it. You have to really treat it as something important. The way I do meditation right now is I do an hour of meditation every morning. And I've committed to doing it. I just started. I've done 30-day challenges of meditation before, but right now I just started really doing it much more seriously because I have recommitted myself and I've made a mental shift into why meditation is important for me. And the way that I'm doing it is I'm using an audio program to help me along. It plays like nature sounds in my ears, and it also plays binaural beats, which actually helps to put your brain in the right meditative frequency. I'll talk more about that in other videos, which is actually a really powerful tool. It's called HoloSync, and there's other programs out there. But the point here being that I've committed myself because in my mind, I painted a vision of what I'm going to be like a year from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, when I do my hour of meditation every morning. For me, that means creating a business that's many, many, many times more profitable than it is otherwise. For me, it means being much more fulfilled and happy. For me, it means having amazingly smooth relationships and being like really calm and imperturbable emotionally, having full control over my emotions. It means having a really healthy and strong brain that I can use to solve complex problems, creative problems, analytical problems that I'm faced with all the time in my business and in my life. For me, this is it. And it also, for me, that vision includes letting go of all the stuff from the past that I'm still holding on to. Because that's another effective meditation, is that it gets you psychological development. It's almost like doing therapy, but on a more subtle scale. So it's kind of like my therapy. And to me, to release all those negative blocks that I have, it's going to literally move me and evolve me to new levels of consciousness and just like performance. So I'm doing it for both the performance, but then also for how it makes me feel and the health benefits. And I'm really bought into that vision right now. So for me, committing an hour every morning now is easy because I'm committed. But for you, it's probably not because you don't have that vision yet. So you have to do whatever you have to do to build that vision for yourself. It's probably going to mean that you're going to try meditation out if you haven't before, and you're going to try it out, you're going to just experiment with it, then maybe you'll quit, maybe you'll do a 30-day challenge like I did when I started out, and you'll last through the whole thing, and you like it, but then you don't see the benefit of it in 30 days, and so you drop it. But if you read the literature, and you listen to enough videos, you listen to enough self-help products, you're going to start to understand the subtle benefits add up big, 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 big time. And then you're going to be bought in and you're going to be doing it. So go ahead and get going on that journey. And then, of course, what I want to mention here is a lot of people will tell me, oh, I'm not meditating because, and they give a bunch of excuses. Like, I'm not meditating because I don't have enough time in the morning. I'm not meditating because when I sit down and meditate, my mind's going all over the place and I find it difficult. I'm not meditating because I haven't studied the techniques. I'm just going to go and take a class next month and then I'll meditate after I take the class. Or I'll read this book, or I don't have the right pillow to put under my ass when I'm sitting down in the half lotus position. All of those are excuses. Because meditation is super, super simple. All you do is you sit down, close your eyes, and sit there for 20 minutes. So the real reason that you're not meditating is because you're lacking discipline and you're lazy and your lower self is coming up with all sorts of excuses to keep that laziness in place. It doesn't want to crank itself up to a new state. It likes being where it is. It likes being comfortable exactly where it is. That's your lower self. That's your reptilian brain. And your reptilian brain wants you to be lazy. And so it'll come up with 1,000 excuses Literally, you can come up with 1,000 excuses for why to procrastinate and why not to meditate. And the real reason behind all that is that you're lazy and you haven't geared yourself into action. You haven't created a vision for yourself. So go ahead, create that vision, and then you will be on track. All right, this is it for me. I'm going to be signing off. Go ahead, comment as always. I love to get your comments. Share and like this.